What if I told you Freddy Krueger didn't just discover his dream powers? What if someone, or something, gave them to him? And what if the real horror of A Nightmare on Elm Street isn't Freddy's claws, but the ancient force that chose him? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at Freddy the same way again. I'll also treat you to a bonus that only true Freddy Krueger fans will appreciate. Act 1. The Freddy we think we know. When audiences first met Freddy in A Nightmare on Elm Street, he wasn't a comedian. He was barely visible, a shadow in a boiler room, a scraping sound in a dark hallway, a shape behind Tina's body rising up the wall. The brilliance of the original film is restraint. We are never told how his powers work. We only see the effect. He kills you in a place you cannot defend yourself. Sleep, a biological necessity, becomes fatal. Parents are powerless. That's why Freddy felt revolutionary. Unlike Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees, Freddy invades the subconscious. He doesn't chase you. He waits for you to surrender. And here's what makes that terrifying. Sleep is trust. We trust our bodies to rest. Freddy weaponizes that trust. But nothing in the original film explains how a burned child killer becomes a reality-bending god, which leads to the deeper question. Was he always meant to be more than a ghost? Act 2. The Dream Demons. In Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare, we get the mythology bombshell. Freddy, cornered and dying, is approached by ancient dream demons, serpentine, whispering entities offering him eternal life. This changes everything, because now Freddy isn't just vengeance, he's chosen. These demons don't create fear, they consume it. Freddy becomes their pipeline to an entire generation of sleeping minds. Think about the scale of that. One town, dozens of teens, years of sustained terror. Freddy becomes the perfect franchise villain because the demons require continuity. They need him infamous. They need him theatrical, which explains his evolution from silent stalker to performance killer. The jokes aren't random. They're branding. Fear spreads faster when it's memorable. Act 3. Fear as fuel. By A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, the mechanics are clear. Freddy grows stronger the more he is feared. The teams attempt to fight back using dream powers of their own, imagination versus corruption. And this is where the franchise becomes psychologically rich. Freddy attacks, addiction, body image, authority distrust, religious guilt, parental failure. He customizes nightmares based on personal trauma. That suggests intelligence beyond instinct. Freddy studies his victims. He wants maximum emotional output. Because fear isn't just energy, it's flavor. And here's the chilling implication. If fear feeds him, then the entire Elm Street series, including us watching, becomes part of the ecosystem. We remember him, we quote him, we buy the merchandise, we keep him alive. Act 4. Freddy evolves. Jump to Freddy versus Jason. Freddy is forgotten. Springwood has suppressed him. The town medicates the children so they won't dream. Freddy is weak. Not dead, weak. This proves something critical. Freddy is not sustained by rage. He's sustained by awareness. So what does he do? He manipulates Jason into killing again, reigniting fear in Springwood so teenagers will whisper his name. That is strategic warfare. That is psychological manipulation on a town-wide scale. Freddy becomes less of a slasher and more of a myth architect. He understands branding before social media existed. And that's when the real horror sets in. He doesn't just kill victims. He engineers belief systems. Act 5. The real dark secret. Then comes Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This film cracks the mythology wide open. Freddy is no longer confined to one continuity. He is portrayed as an ancient, archetypal evil that has worn many faces throughout history, only contained by storytelling. That reframes the dream demons entirely. Maybe they weren't external beings. Maybe they were manifestations of something older, the primal human fear of vulnerability. Sleep is surrender. Dreams are exposure. Freddy becomes the embodiment of what happens when civilization fails to protect its children. And that is the ultimate dark secret. Freddy's power doesn't come from demons. It comes from unresolved guilt. Springwood burned a man alive without trial. They lied to their children. They buried the truth. Freddy becomes the town's subconscious revenge. And now, here is a bonus for staying with us.
Here are the top 5 things true Nightmare on Elm Street fans still obsess over. Number 5. What exactly are the dream demons? When the dream demons appear in Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare, they look almost alien. Serpentine, ancient, whispering. But their origin is never explained, which opens 3 major interpretations hardcore fans debate. 1. Literal hell entities. They are ancient, infernal beings who feed on suffering. Freddy was simply a perfect candidate, evil enough to qualify, charismatic enough to thrive. 2. Psychological manifestations. They may not be physical demons at all. They could represent the collective guilt of Springwood, the town's unresolved sin manifesting as supernatural consequence. 3. Archetypal cosmic forces. In Wes Craven's New Nightmare, Freddy becomes more than a character. He's portrayed as something ancient that takes form through storytelling. That suggests the dream demons may not have created Freddy. They may have been drawn to him, like sharks sensing blood. And here's the most chilling possibility. If they empowered Freddy once, what's stopping them from empowering someone new? Number 4. How powerful is Freddy at his absolute peak? Inside dreams, Freddy is essentially omnipotent. In A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, he controls gravity, alters time, morphs his body at will, exploits deepest insecurities, reshapes reality like clay. He's not bound by physics, but here's the catch. His power is conditional. In Freddy vs. Jason, when the town suppresses his memory, Freddy weakens dramatically. So fans constantly debate, is Freddy a god or is he a parasite? Because a true god doesn't need belief. Freddy does, and that dependency makes him uniquely terrifying. He's not invincible. He's viral. He spreads through memory. Number 3. Was Freddy always meant to be supernatural? In A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's powers feel mysterious and undefined. The lack of rules makes him frightening. But later films give him detailed lore. Abusive childhood, son of 100 maniacs, supernatural resurrection, demonic deal. Some fans love the expanded mythology. Others argue that explaining Freddy weakens him. Because horror thrives in ambiguity. The more you define evil, the more manageable it feels. Early Freddy was a nightmare you couldn't understand. Later Freddy became a character with mechanics. The debate among fans isn't just about continuity, it's about what makes horror effective. Mystery or mythology. Number 2. Did Freddy eventually outgrow the dream demons? Here's where things get fascinating.
The dream demons empower Freddy, but by the time we reach the later films, Freddy behaves less like a servant and more like a sovereign. He strategizes. He manipulates entire communities. He orchestrates Jason as a pawn in Freddy vs. Jason. That's not demonic obedience. That's calculated dominance. Some fans theorize that Freddy eventually became self-sustaining, that he no longer required the dream demons once fear culture cemented him into horror history. And this theory becomes even more compelling when you consider Freddy transcended his own franchise. He became a pop culture icon, which means, within the logic of his power system, we may have made him immortal. Number 1. Can Freddy ever truly die? Every installment tries. Holy relics, psychic counterpowers, pulling him into the real world, forgetting him entirely. Yet he always returns. Why? Because Freddy's power source is not just supernatural, it's conceptual. In New Nightmare, Freddy is framed as an ancient evil that can only be contained through narrative, locked inside fiction like a cage. That implies Freddy isn't just a villain, he's a recurring archetype, the dream invader, the punisher of secrets, the embodiment of buried guilt. As long as parents hide truths, trauma is suppressed, fear goes unspoken, Freddy exists. And that's why fans still obsess over him. Because unlike most slashers, Freddy doesn't represent brute force. He represents psychological consequence. He is what happens when a community tries to burn its sins away instead of confronting them. So when we ask, where do Freddy's powers come from? The mythological answer is dream demons. The narrative answer is revenge. But the thematic answer? Freddy exists because fear, guilt, and trauma were never confronted. And as long as societies bury their monsters instead of facing them, those monsters come back in dreams. If you enjoyed this deep dive into horror mythology, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, did Freddy control the dream demons? Or were we watching their master plan all along? Until next time, good night, sweet dreams, and try to stay alive for more villainy.